Morning, Piggy.
Morning, morning, morning. Good Saturday morning to you. Y'all know that means it's Friday morning for me. Just gotta wait on them. Come on. Morning traffic, folks. Morning traffic.
Yeah, everybody's going through.
Truck backing up over there.
Yes, we're gonna have to wait anyway.
Yeah. He grabbed some curb to be able to make that.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna grab some curb again.
That's a tight spot to get in
That's
that.
a real tight spot. I know some truckers that could have got that done. Michael could have got that done. As long as that boy's been driving, all the situations he's been in, guarantee you he could have had it done.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to drive one of them big old things.
Oh no, I thought about it years and years ago. Nope.
I'll be honest, they intimidate the fool out of me. The biggest thing I've ever driven is a 48-foot Penske box truck. The church up there. I drove it pretty well. Of course, it's all one unit.
Yeah.
I can back that up. Back it up a trailer? Nah. I can't back a trailer to save my life.
You tried.
I know the concept. I know the concept real well. I just can't get my body to play out what my mind is telling it to do. It just don't work. Now, I can pull one all day long. Not a problem. Make allowance for turning and this, that, and the other thing. No problem. Backing that thing up, forget it. Can't do it.
We're gonna back trailers up. We need to put that little boy in that one little video we saw had him a little bitty one of them electric cars with a trailer on it.
I probably couldn't back that up.
That little boy was about 3 or 4 years old, and he's backing that sucker up like a pro.
Imagine what he'll be like when he gets older and drives truck for a living.
Well, that or hauls a horse trailer, because his, you tell he's a farm kid.
Either way,
Yeah. I don't know. I can haul a trailer of any kind.
like I said, I can pull one, no problem.
Nowadays, I do get to drive a car.
Well, a lot of mine these days is the fact I've been out of work because of disability for so long now. There ain't nothing out there I really would want to do because I can't do it now. I ain't fit or able. I can drive, no problem, but which is a good thing. Lexus NX 350H.
I guess so. I can still drive if I want to. I can drive pretty well if I want to.
Well, since that happened to your eyeballs, that's a matter of perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. Piggy don't like riding.
Before that happened to your eyes, there weren't no problems. But since that has, the moments you've driven and I've white knuckled a little bit.
Well,
Folks, she likes to drive very close to the edge of the road. And there's been some times when I thought that edge of the road was going to run out.
But it didn't.
Thank the Lord. That didn't help my pucker factor none at the moment, at that time. But anyway, it's Friday. We've done our morning drop off. Now we're gonna make our little drive back to the house. All we got left is this afternoon on that.
Yeah.
She was informed that she'll be doing a little sitting with her on Sunday. But anywho.
Yeah, and as of right now, we got 2 days off next week.
Tuesday and Thursday. We got enough gas right now. We're probably going to run it into Monday before we get gas. Oh yeah. Car seems to be doing fairly well this morning. It was acting up a little bit yesterday afternoon, but I figure it's trash going through, getting cleaned out. So we're gearing up to get ready to get that gas filter. I'm gonna see if I can't change it out. See about getting it. Go up to my little sister's and have her fella, my brother Philip, do it for me, but we have concluded it wouldn't handle the mountains going up there. Now on a good day, if it ain't throwing trash, it might do well. But we have no way of knowing if we'd have a good day or a bad day with it.
True.
If we was to go up there. So gonna get me a socket for it. About $8. I found those websites that girl up there at the shop gave me. I've only been looking at one of the sites so far. I like the prices. The oil pack ain't but $45. Go to the auto parts store, it's about $150, $200. Big difference.
Yeah.
I've been looking up stuff. I found out there's a transmission control fuse and transmission control relay. And I know where the fuse is at. Not too sure about the relay because I've seen 2 or 3 different statements on where it's at. I put in for a little gas vehicle, and a lot of times it wants to show stuff for the diesel version of this thing. I ain't got no diesel. I got gas.
Well, keep your gas to yourself if you can.
The more I see on parts for a diesel, the happier I am I got that regular gas.
Yeah.
They got a whole lot of extra parts for a diesel version. And they expensive. I just don't think it would be worth the little bit of extra fuel mileage to have one of them.
If I had a diesel, it'd be that little VW Beetle that like we saw.
I'm sure it would have a lot of the same extra added parts.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, if we had a diesel, it would be that little VW Beetle that like we saw.
Oh yeah, they were boasting over 50 miles to the gallon on the average.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
I love the little VW Beetles.
They can make it where you get that and more out of these here. They can make it where you get that and more out of a V8.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Well, no, because they're restricted by fuel companies.
Yep.
That's why if you are overseas and have a vehicle, which when I was saying overseas, I mean like in Germany, France, and all the
I
places.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Overseas, people know overseas is overseas.
Yeah. If you try to bring your vehicle back from there, you have to have it modified before you can bring it and have it shipped.
Where you get lower gas mileage.
Yep.
So it could be done, they just don't want to. They lose money, but what they don't realize, they can make as much money off volume as they could restricting it. Because the more often people can go because they're getting better gas mileage, the more they're going to fill up anyway because they're going to be on the go. They already used to filling up once, twice, 3 times a week. Well, if they get better gas mileage, they could go more often. So they're still going to wind up using about the same amount of gas. They're just going to be able to get a lot more done.
Yeah.
So that means more volume. Now they're trying to get all the profits out of one shot. Well, folks, that Jasmine Crockett up there, she's going to wind up wearing an orange jumpsuit. She done attacked a reporter, so she's escalating. She kind of act like a thug. Folks, she was raised up in a very posh environment, very rich. $35,000 a year daycare growing up. Private schools that were just as expensive. Colleges that were just as expensive. Now she's gonna try to act like a thug. If she ever got faced with a real thug, she'd probably drop on the spot from terror. If she met a real woman from the hood, she'd find out what thug is.
Yeah.
But and what they're doing, one of listeners who pointed this out, I was kind of thinking the same thing, but hadn't formulated a solid thought on it, and they brought it out. And I thought, yeah, that's exactly what that is. Trump is gruff. He's masculine, tough. So what they're trying to do now is trying to emulate what he did, to act like they got a power. Because it appealed to the American public. We finally got somebody up there with a set up there. You got some big golden ones the size of a big dump truck. Each.
Garbage truck.
Dump truck. A big dump truck. And that's what they're doing. They're trying to emulate that. They've thrown common sense into it. Trying to use what Trump said. trying to get people thinking their way. Ain't gonna work. Crockett, what she's done, especially now that she has assaulted a reporter, she's escalating. She's been getting away with it, so she thinks she's untouchable. She gonna get worse. She gonna wind up actually hurting somebody unless they get her out of there. So if anybody out there happens to live in her district out there in Texas, or a young black man out there that I've been seeing, and he seems like he carries the proper creds to be in that office, and he's running against her right now. She won't debate him. I dare say it's because she can't. She might be fairly smart. I don't think she's as smart as he is. But if y'all happen to be in that district, y'all take a look at that young man. I think he'd do y'all better. And if you're out there not in that district, but you know people in that district, be sure they know about him. Can't think of his name. So, y'all be better off. Everything she's doing, the way she's talking. Shoot, folks, even the view was down in her.
The spew was down in her? Like, they got room to talk, but, you know.
For mocking Governor Greg Abbott. Calling him Mr. Hot Wheels. They sure enough did. Now, they didn't totally denounce her, but she popped their radar, and they talked about it in a, kind of bad way. Kind of bad way.
Yeah.
Like I said, they didn't totally denounce her, but they're still trying to make some excuse for her actions. But for them to even do anything less than praise her is saying something.
Yeah.
So people still talking about that Epstein list. Folks, I got news for you. They got to do a lot to make sure everything's done right on that. First of all, protecting the victims. And they got to go through all that evidence and separate the names from, I'm sure, what is a lot of very demonically graphic, tragic scenes. If you get my drift, I'm going to wait on him, I think.
Yeah, that sun just kind of blinds you to point.
But, I'm as anxious as anyone else to see that list. But I don't want to see the court proceedings.
No.
Because they're going to have to show stuff that shouldn't have ever been made to begin with. Y'all know what I mean. The very graphic, sexually explicit stuff they've done with those children that shouldn't have never happened, much less been filmed. I'm sure a lot of that's going to be in the court proceedings. If y'all demanding to see all that right now, well, that is the ones who did it. Being that much, we've gotten too much accustomed to having things and having them right now. On top of that, they got to make sure all their T's are crossed and I's dotted. Because with all those activist judges out there, the slightest little thing could get those perps acquitted. We don't need that either. So y'all just give that time. Quit wanting it right now. I know we've all been waiting a long time, but there's a lot of things they have to go through to make sure they get the conviction. I've seen it myself. People around here. A lot of laws are designed to protect the criminal more than they are the victim.
Oh yeah. It's everywhere.
And especially when you got a lot of activist judges that I'm sure quite a few of them are on that list too, or have been involved in stuff. The CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch was arrested on child trafficking. He was running a ring like that. I ain't heard nothing on it since it first came out. Ain't no telling how long that's going to take. That may be where a lot of these activist judges have been going to since Epstein got busted. And P. Diddy. So, it's going to take a while, folks. Anybody dissing Bondi because she ain't done it yet, I'm going to point out something. We've all given Trump allowance because we know the forces that he's fighting. Y'all think Bondi and the rest of them ain't having to fight those same forces? So anybody out there down in Bondi, not taking into account she's having to fight the same forces that Trump has been having to fight, shut up. Leave her alone. She's having to fight as hard as Trump. So, you know, there's one I watch. I'm starting to not like him too much because he'll talk about how hard it is that Trump is having to fight to get things done, but he doesn't make the same allowance for Bondi, and he's down on Bondi because it hadn't been done yet. And with as much material as they're having to go through, you know, tens of thousands of documents on all that. That's probably not counting the video evidence that they're having to go through and adjust so that they can present it in court without making it a child porn showing. It's gonna be bad enough as it is. Y'all leave her alone. Let her do her job. Y'all think about it. Piggy loves you.